Hey guys, Wes here. I'm going to do another thread. This time it's MrHoffamame's thread number 6. But first, before we get started, I just listened to this and all I can say is wow. Just wow. This is just wow. I won't ever be the same. This is like, this is just, I don't know. It's like exactly everything I want in music. Just beautiful instruments, beautiful harmonies, beautiful lyrics. I'm blown away. I'm really blown away. Yeah. As soon as I get done with this video, I'm going to be putting it right back on. It's been a long time since I've heard something that good. So let me get into this thread. I know it's going to take me a while to get through these questions. 5 really, really awesome questions. I definitely wanted to answer them and take my time with them. Okay, so starting off, the first question was artists with political or religious views that you don't like, but you like their music, basically, or you don't agree with their religious or political views. And I was watching some videos today, and Derek's pick was what happened to come to mind first for me as well, which is Ted Nugent. The man can play amazing guitar, writes amazing songs, but can't stand his politics at all. Yeah, that was definitely the first thing that came to mind to me was Ted Nugent. To sort of go along with that, sort of not just one artist in general, but sort of the majority of hip-hop artists who tend to throw around the homophobic comments that are, personally hard for me to take. I love rap music, I love hip-hop music, but those comments are very, very painful to me, so it's kind of an issue I have with hip hop in general. I think it's gonna change here real soon. I realized that I've noticed that some of the comments are, some of the, no homo and all that stuff is actually getting bleeped out on the radio. So I hope they'll realize that, it's really unacceptable to say those things, and I hope that changes soon. So I kind of have a problem with that. I still love hip hop. I always will. It was my first love. It's what sort of my musical interests sort of branch off of from. I hear a sample of something, and I sort of branch out from there and explore music more. So it's kind of great for that. Question number 2, is it still possible to make a classic album? And I think, I've watched several people's responses to this, and quite interesting responses, actually. I'm quite interested in the different opinions people have of this whole thing. And I think yes, it is very possible to still make a classic album. It's a factor of time for the most part, and then it's a factor of does the album continue to speak to new generations of people. What's considered classic now are albums that in the past were popular, but yet they've continued with each successive generation, continued to have discovered these albums and made a connection with those albums, even though they may have been made at a different time, when in a different place, but yet people continue to connect with that album, with that piece of music. And I think that's always going to be possible going forward, to have something that people can connect with going forward, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, as long as people continue to be able to have a connection to a piece of music. It's always possible to make a classic album. I don't, it's not anything you can do. You can't just go into a studio and say, okay, we're going to make a classic album, and we're going to make it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what musicians you put into a studio. I mean, you could put Metallica and Jay-Z and name 10 of the best artists you've ever heard of, and put them all in the studio, and you can't make a classic album. It's something that has to be sort of built up over time, that continues to speak to people. So that's my thoughts on that. Question number 3: groups or artists that have a great image. I didn't really think about this as much as I should have. I mean, there's a lot that have already been named, like Prince and Lady Gaga, and I think like Pink sort of has that great image, sort of a persona. A lot of rappers have sort of personas that they've created that they're like super cool. Like I said, Jay-Z is he's created this sort of image that's like superhuman, almost like a bigger than life persona. You got people like Bono, Madonna. There's a lot of artists that have a sort of a larger than life image. I think even I just got Britney Spears' new album, and she, say what you will about Britney Spears, for her genre of music, she's got it nailed down. She knows how to make hits. She knows what her fans want. She has a persona that sort of continually evolves, but it's still her, and it's pretty incredible that she can continue to be on top, even with all the craziness in her life. She continues to make music that people want to hear, or music that people connect with, music that talks to people. And I think that's pretty impressive as an artist. I think, I'd definitely say Britney Spears would be top of my list of artists, great, amazing image artists. Okay, now for question number 4, we have 5 best soundtrack songs. I don't know if I got 5. I just picked a few here. To say, I love the title tracks to Bond films. They're all just amazing. They really capture the essence of the movies, and the title track captures the essence of whatever specific Bond film they're written for. Usually, this is probably my second favorite title track, Goldfinger, sung by Shirley Bassey. Really great. I think my favorite Bond theme song is Goldeneye, done by Tina Turner. Just the opening scene of this movie, and then it goes into Tina Turner's song, and it's just like, wow, it's just over the top, mind's blown. I'm ready to go on this trip. I'm ready to go on this journey. It's kind of funny, they're both gold themed songs, you got Goldfinger and Goldeneye. But that's probably my favorite of the Bond songs. On the soundtrack to Above the Rim is where Regulate by Warren G and Nate Dogg originally came from. So that's a big good soundtrack song. This is one I definitely want to get on vinyl. The soundtrack to The Color of Money. Warren Zevon's Werewolves of London. The particular scene in the movie where that song is played, it just fits that scene just so perfectly. And you would have to see the movie to understand it, but that song just fits the scene of the movie so well that I had to pick this song. And then another one I picked was from the remake of Romeo and Juliet with When Doves Cry, done by Quentin Tarver. Did it sort of as like a church choir song, and I just love that song. The way it was set up in the movie, I just really like it. It's a great version of that song. I think I like it better than the original. I think I've said that before in past threads that I like this version of When Doves Cry better than the original, but that's definitely one to pick. And then finally, probably my favorite soundtrack song of all time is Stand By Me, Benny King. It's a great song on its own, and then when you see it at the end of this movie, it elevates it to a higher place because it has so much meaning to go along with the movie, and it just I can't watch this movie without crying at the end, just because it's such a powerful ending. They just released the 25th anniversary edition of this on Blu-ray. Great
movie, and that song sort of sums up the whole movie. Sums up the feeling of being a kid, and sort of the adventures you have when you're a kid, and nothing like what they did in the movie, but sort of, adventures as a kid away from parents, and, just being a young boy, in that sort of that time when you're old enough to be on your own, but before the other boys discover girls, which never happened for me, so that it was kind of that time before they discovered girls where was my favorite time as being a kid before things started going downhill, and so it was a really happy time for me, and a happy time in my childhood, when we were just a bunch of boys having fun, and I guess that's kind of the meaning of this movie to me, is that innocence that we were able to share, and I don't know, I'm having trouble speaking eloquently about it, but I really do love the movie. Captures a time of youth that's perfect as far as I'm concerned, and I'm really glad they made the movie. And finally, question number 5: what does the vinyl community mean to me? Vinyl community is just it's fun. I mean, it's cool being able to interact with all of you, and share in the thrill of your finds, and have you share in the thrill of my finds, and learn about new artists that maybe you wouldn't have known about before, and sort of geek out about music, because most of us have to go on our day-to-day routine, and our regular friends who don't really understand what it is we do, or why we collect the music, and why we're not just listening to top 40 music, and why we don't just download stuff from iTunes or whatever. It's a place where we can really be ourselves, and talk about things and have fun, and be our own little community where people understand each other, and it's been really cool to experience it. It's still very young and got a lot more things to do, and just really having a great time being a part of the community, and looking forward to it going on further in the future. So anyway, it's 4:30 in the morning. I'm having trouble with this. I wasn't quite as eloquent with this thread as I was hoping I would be. I hope I can edit this into something that's watchable. Hope I was able to get across some of my feelings about some of this. So I appreciate you watching. Leave some comments down below if you like, and we'll see you soon. Keep the record spinning.